As early as 7 a.m., they had gathered at the Unity Fountain, which was the rendezvous point. Among them are past and serving leaders of the labor union. Some had on the colors of the various affiliate unions, while others chose the traditional red beep of organized labor. And just before they set out, the NLC president and others were on hand for some pep talk.
This is a struggle for a new Nigeria. This is a struggle for good governance. And this is a struggle against corruption. We are here because our laws are very weak. Corrupt officials, if you steal even 100 billion, at most you only get 2 years of jail, or you part with only a fraction of what you have stolen. And you'll be allowed to go and continue to enjoy your ill-fortune wealth. No more. We have seen this in the case of Atiku Kigo, who stole 32 billion of Nigerian pension funds, and what he got was 2 years imprisonment or 750,000 naira fine. Is that what we want?
This rally is one of those rallies to strengthen those institutions and to fight corruption. You know, corruption is endemic and it needs to be killed. And just like the president said, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us. All the sectors of this country are suffering because of corruption. And for me, in the National Assembly, I feel that those institutions, my primary aim and the National Assembly primary aim now should be laws should be revealed to the extent that those institutions will be strengthened.
We don't want a neoliberal policy through the back door that has actually led to more and more corruption in our country. We want people-centered development programs that will raise the standard of living of Nigerian people, that will make all our social services, education, health, everything to work.
Then it was time to visit the EFCC, where the chairman of the anti-graft agency played host to the group.
I want to assure you that with this our hands have been straightened, and we will do our best not to disappoint you. We will continue to do what we are doing, and we shall go home and be very comfortable that the Nigerian Labour Congress and all the affiliate unions are solidly behind us. I think this is the time for all Nigerians to speak with one voice. Yes. Corruption has continued to slow down the pace of the corruption of our country. We cannot afford to do that.
Next port of call was the National Assembly and the SGF's office, where some of the participants could be seen climbing over the gate at the main entrance. Inside the complex, letters were presented to representatives of the Speaker and Senate President.
Just like the executive arm of government has come up with an articulated policy against corruption, for instance, it has set up a committee under Comrade Professor Ise Sage to recommend ways of fast-tracking the anti-corruption fight. House of Representatives has not only noted this patriotic initiative, but we are also coming up with a coordinated approach to reinforce what the executive arm of government is doing and to answer to the clarion call and demand of Nigerian workers and Nigerian people generally.
The peaceful solidarity march may have been concluded, but many Nigerians are of the view that enough words have been spoken already, and the time for action is now. Basiaye, Core TV News, Abuja.
Okay, that's the protest in Abuja. The NLC talking tough now, talking about the way forward for to fighting corruption in Nigeria, and they took the protest to the doors of the National Assembly. The peaceful rally started from the Unity Fountain, and the activists visited the EFCC headquarters before moving to the National Assembly complex and the office of Secretary to Government of the Federation. The group was received at every point by top officials of the various institutions and establishments. Okay, I'm quickly going to take you to Taraba, Kaduna and Kwara, and we're going to see what our reporters were able to gather from there. Labor activists in Taraba joined their counterparts across the country as well to declare war against corruption. The State Council of the NLC there made its intention known by staging a rally in support of the president's anti-graft campaign. In Kaduna, the NLC also converged on the government house to drop up support for Mr. President, and in Kwara, a peaceful rally was organized in support of Mr. President. The Solidarity Rally cut through the Ilorin metropolis and terminating at the state government house. Let's check out these events as they happened.
Receiving the labor workers at the government house, the Deputy Governor Haruna Manu said the administration is also in support of the fight against corruption. He assured the activists of the state government's readiness to synergize with them to curb corruption.
We want to assure you that we stand by Mr. President, we'll continue to support him. And just because of that, when we came in, one of the first things this administration did was to set up a committee to re-verify the civil servants, so that we can flush out those that ought to have retired, or those that retired but still their names are in the payroll. It is one of the process.
NLC Chairman Peter Gambo said Labour will continue to support the current leadership in its fight against corruption. He is convinced that non-payment of workers' salaries is a fallout of corrupt practices by some state governors, unfair treatment of Nigerian workers, and an unrealistic minimum wage. This, the NLC chairman said, has led many workers to live in penury and suffer untold hardships.
If you are a civil servant, you must fight corruption in your life. If you are a governor, you are the one heading the whole team in Taraba State. And anywhere you find yourself, be objective and fight corruption. We all elected our leaders with high level of trust. We elected our leaders with loaded hope that they will bring development to us. That has been a thing in the campaign movement. Yes. We believe they will live to their campaign promises.
Yes. He added that corruption in Nigeria takes many forms, ranging from embezzlement and bribery to rigging of election, among others. Some of the workers said corruption had affected all the sectors and should be treated with utmost urgency.
We call on the government to maintain its anti-corruption stand and its stand for good governance, to give us good leadership, to develop our country for us. That's our call to both the state and federal governments.
Corruption, we know, is what is killing Nigeria. So we are in support of the fight against corruption. That is why we are all out here to support the federal government.
If we do not keep corruption, my sister, corruption will kill Nigeria. That is the plain truth about it.
According to the workers, the belief is for Nigerians to stand in unison and fight this evil called corruption. Udwa Godwin, Call TV News, Jalingo.
These are members of the workforce in Kaduna State who have decided to stage a solidarity rally in support of President Buhari's war against corruption. Governor El-Rufai made his first public appearance in 10 days at the rally and promised to pay civil servants their salary before the Eid al-Fitr celebration. He plans to use the money discovered during the verification process.
We are public servants. We are elected to serve you, the people. So I have absolutely no problem being your messenger to take this to President Muhammad Buhari, who is the #1 public servant of Nigeria. He is also working for all of us. I want to assure you that I will also follow up on these suggestions to prod and remind the President to implement your suggestions. Here in Kaduna, I want to express on behalf of the government our appreciation for your continuous support. I have read some of the placards you brought, and I'm very, very grateful for your support.
Labour leaders in the state expressed happiness and belief in the new government.
Yeah, we came out for this protest in order to support the quest for the anti-corruption crusade started by His Excellency, the President of the country. And we are here to give the letter, and we have given the governor the letter for onward transmission to the President, and we are sure it will get to him.
His Trade Union Congress counterpart explained the rationale for the rally.
It is very necessary to note that without the support of the Nigerian workers, the aim and objective of eliminating corruption in Nigeria will never be achieved. That is why the working class in Nigeria, and in Kaduna in particular, decided to give this support to the present administration to wipe corruption tendencies in the running of government at both local, state and the federal government.
The rally was largely peaceful as security operatives were on hand to provide protection for the labor activists and their civil society partners.
The Kwara State chapter of Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress marched in a solidarity rally for the government of Muhammadu Buhari, in a march which was felt in the Ilorin metropolis before terminating at the government house. Receiving the letter on behalf of the governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed, the state head of service Haji Zamar Umar appreciates the good gesture of the workers towards the APC-led federal government and by extension the Kwara State government led by Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed. He solicits more support and cooperation from the unions while promising to deliver the message to the president.
For the peaceful relationship we've been enjoying since 2003 to date, we have never had the cause to disagree, and even if we disagree to agree. So I want to appreciate you for that, and I want to assure you that the government is not sleeping on its ears. Your problems that have been laid on its table, they are going to look into it with dispatch, and very soon, all of us will have smiles on our faces. I want to assure you that the letter I am receiving on behalf of the governor will be delivered to him for onward delivery to the president.
The union's leadership expressed their satisfaction with President Muhammadu Buhari on his mission to curb corruption and provision of solid foundation for a working country.
Yeah, the message is simple. In as much as it's a known fact that the President, General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, is trying to sanitize the economy by introducing anti-corruption mechanism. The leadership of the labor unions, the NLC and the TUC, have deemed it compulsory that we support him in this quest. And by so doing, we have a mandate to organize this rally with our people so that we show our support to Mr. President, that we are against corruption. We stand to be against corruption in the economy, because we realize that the economy has been so vigorous with the issue of corruption. So the only way this can be curbed is to help the president in his support.
The unions, however, advised the president to continue the fight against corruption in order to have a sustainable democracy. Rashid, Core TV News, Ilorin.
Sight and sound from Abuja, Taraba, Kaduna and Kwara. It's the labor activists there talking about their support for Mr. President. And of course, the very unusual approach now that they have brought to the equation. They are suggesting capital punishment for looters in Nigeria. Well, I'm still joined by policy analyst Victor OKHAI on the show today. Thank you very much, sir, for staying the course.
Thank you very much.
Do you think we have been able to define corruption outside political leadership? Because we seem to have the idea that the corrupt leaders are the ones in government. What happens to the civil service? What happens to even labor unions? You know what we hear when they hold their many elections?
You know, I was chuckling to myself when I saw the people, unions, protesting, talking about anti-corruption and all that. And I just said to myself, who is a corrupt politician without a civil servant? It is the civil servants that are the epitome of corruption. from the policeman to that person in the lands registry to the man who is in charge of, I mean, go all over, you see them. Whether it be the traffic officer on the road and all that, these are not politicians. These are civil servants. In fact, the politician does not come to steal directly from you and I. The civil servants steal from us every day. You want to go to hospitals, you want to get something done. If you don't greet somebody's palm, nothing happens. If there's an emergency somewhere, you need something done that you truly earn, no one is going to answer you until you have greased their palm. Now, so when I see them protesting, for me, I'm just wondering, they're calling for a death sentence, and this is why, at the risk of stirring up controversies here, I'm inclined to agree with what the former president said, which the media twisted out of context, where he said stealing is not corruption. He said it's not the same thing as...
stealing is not the same thing as corruption.
It's the same thing as corruption. Now, the reason he made that statement was that much of what we call corruption is actually stealing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Corruption by itself is abuse of your office. That's what corruption simply means. You understand what I'm saying? It's the abuse of your office. Okay? But stealing itself is what it is. You go, whether with a pen or whatever, you loot the treasure. What you are stealing. Call it by its name. Don't call it corruption. Corruption is like glamorizing stealing, which was the point he was making, and I agree. If you bring a former governor and charge him for stealing, if you charge him for corruption, what did they charge him? They said they charged him for embezzling or corruption. The ordinary man says, "Oh, big deal." But he said for stealing, even in his village, he said, they catch Governor Tamedu for stealing. Stealing, you know what I'm saying? So we should call it by its name. We need to look inwards. We need to start first from ourselves as individuals, as civil servants, as public servants. What are those things that we're doing? Yes, people can use their offices to influence certain things, but stealing as it is starts right from even the clerk. And let us begin to check and plug all those loopholes. Only then can this country stop hemorrhaging.
Would you call this call for capital punishment rather sensational? But even though when there are references to it, they will tell you that in places like China, if you steal, you might get a capital punishment. Is that the way out at this time in Nigeria?
In China, I'm not so sure that you get a capital punishment for just stealing. Because I'm sure people steal there every day. You get a capital punishment for that your abuse of office to embezzle, particularly for politicians and public servants. You get the death sentence. Because there should be zero tolerance, particularly at that level. When a man at that level steals, he deprives millions of privileges, of so many things. So I think this call for me right now is sensational, because even the people making the calls themselves are just being hypocritical.
But let's quickly look at the logic behind it. In Indonesia, for instance, there's a death sentence for importing drugs and all of that. And the logic behind it is that there's a particular number of people in that country that die as a result of those substances. They will tell you close to about 250 people die probably on a weekly or on a daily basis. And then they're thinking, well, these are terrific measures, terrific times that require terrific measures. If we have this number of people dying, why not kill people who are causing this death? In Nigeria now, bring it back home, there are millions of Nigerians suffering, if not thousands, that are dying on a daily basis because of poor health facilities. On the front page of the paper today, we saw a victim of electrocution that was not attended to properly at the hospital in Lagos. That's just one out of the numerous challenges. And when you trace the challenges, they will tell you, oh, there are no funds, you know, budgeted for healthcare in Nigeria. Probably someone who is supposed to spend one money at stealing it, like you said earlier. Haven't we gotten to that time where we need to now fight corruption with such Indonesian example?
Well, I was going to say absolutely, but I mean, the death capital has, I mean, look at it this way. HIV, until recently, would have been like a death sentence. Did it stop people from having unprotected sex? Not necessarily. You know that. You know, the thing about human nature is, even the arm robber goes out every day, potentially, every outing could be his last. It doesn't stop them from doing it. If they say Jesus is going to come 5 p.m. today, people will keep sinning right through that 5 p.m. So, what is most effective is to put systems in place to check things like that, which was what the former administration was trying to do by some of the things they did, part of which this administration is claiming now, this issue of single treasury. You know, this was something that the administration had already penciled down to do after the elections and all that. But government is continuous, so we understand. But I feel that due credit should be given. They tried to approach the issue of corruption scientifically. Part of what they did was to make sure that, what you call it now, this not for contractors really, that payments are made, not, you don't come and pick up checks anymore, but through e-transfer, you know, to your account. So you don't have to come and meet one accountant who will keep your check for so long. Even when he's giving you, it's as if he's doing you a favor. The look he gives you as he's giving you the check, your conscience will not let you walk away. You will feel, here I am collecting this quote unquote big money, something you have worked for, earned. You'll be walking away with guilt, with a guilty conscience. You know, whereas the guy is collecting his salary, you know, but he's making you feel guilty for collecting your own salary for job done. You know what I mean? So all that, you know, reduced to a very large extent, because then the money can be traced. You know, I mean, forensics in the banking system is easy because you can trace transfers, who will withdraw what, at what time, where it went to, and all of that. So that, to me, is the most effective way of fighting corruption. Single treasury is going to help a lot, because now, in the past, just off camera, you were telling me about Aerofiles saying discovered several billions in so many accounts. People kept opening all sorts of accounts. The thing about accounts, once an account is open, any check that comes in can be transferred into, can be paid into that account. And it's a signatory to that account that can withdraw from it. But when we're talking single treasury right now, everything goes into one pot. Before you go there to withdraw, you know.
It has to be from the top.
Well, even if not, there are processes and procedures. So what the previous administration started is part of the policy. Bringing a death sentence it may check some people. It may not necessarily stop it. Everybody, look, the minute you do that, people will become more scientific. You know, it was Achebe's things in Achebe's fall apart. I read, he said, since the hunter has learned to aim without missing, the sparrow has learned to fly without perching. So, Kodiman die, Kodiman bury. You bring in your method, they will devise other means around it.
Let's quickly open the phone line for contributions from our viewers across the country and beyond. Please, when you call in, endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can hear you clearly. We're discussing anti-corruption, the call by labor unions across Nigeria for the capital punishment. What are your thoughts as regards this developing story? Let me take this call very quickly. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name?
I'm Okoye from Abia State.
Okoye from Abia State.
Yeah.
You're welcome to Call Digest. Please turn that. Can you speak louder? I can hardly hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
It's better now. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah. Please,
And we are talking about corruption in Nigeria. It is really indeed a monumental fiduciary monster. But when we start talking about it, let us go to the fundamentals of what makes a nation. Now, the present government, if we could consider the appointments lately made in the Customs Department, we can now find that there is a colonel instead of customs. That colonel, is it an army colonel or is it a customs colonel? I don't know what colonel it is. I believe the Customs Department as a hierarchy has really regimented people that should, custom officers that be a custom controller, which should be from a custom department and not from the army, if I'm not mistaken. Now, that is one. The other one I want to say, I've asked it on many occasions on this channel. Please, I want the moderator, because I can find out that that gentleman there is really reasonable. He talks wisely. Let us consider the issue of these councillors throughout the federation, numbering over 1 million, that are receiving pay for over 18 years now, without any input. Therefore, as you people are going for this actualization of corrupt men in the country, go into the actual possibility of what labor means. Labor is input, either in services or in manner of work or otherwise. Now there is no input in the councillor situation, and they have been receiving salaries for over 15 years. Are these act of governance not encouraging corruption? Somebody who does not make any input is being paid, and nobody talks about it. And we want to correct the system. How do we not correct the system if we don't start on the fundamentals? Please, I would like this gentleman there with the moderator to look into this issue. Thank you very much.
Good to hear from you, OKHAI from Abia State. Quite incisive. You talked about the local government. I talked about councillors. We were discussing this issue at the newsroom recently, and the question was, you know, prior to this time, we've had issues of local government autonomy. You hear councillors tell you that we are not getting our shares. And for crying out loud, if they don't get their shares, how do you expect them to do anything, so to speak?
Okay, I'll talk about it, but let me start with the issue of customs. One of the major reasons why civil servants are corrupt is because of the insecurity on the job, where, let's say you work with the Nigerian Television Authority, you rise up to the position of a director, and then suddenly somebody, and you are hoping in your career to cap it up with becoming the Director General. So you work so hard. When it's time, then suddenly they bring somebody from outside to come and be the Director General of NTA. You work with, name any agency. So this civil servants begin to go, then what the hell am I doing? If I can't go, I mean, if I'm DG, I probably will have a better retirement package and I have something to work hard for and all that. So what the civil servants now learn to do is self-help, which is another name for corruption. They resort to self-help, which is now what is happening in customs. It may have been bad in customs, I can assure it will get worse. These people understand the system. The new man does not. I will never forget something someone said to me. I was doing a consultancy project. I went to one of the river basin development authorities in the southeast. In the process of my doing my survey and doing what I was doing for this project, the PRO then, at that time, asked me, he said, what answer do you want? The civil service answer or the real answer? And I did a double take. Oh yeah? You mean there's a civil service answer and there's a real answer? I can assure you, Ahmadu Ali or whatever his name is, I don't know, I'm not sure I know his name properly, Colonel. He will be given, no matter how smart he thinks he is, he will be given 2 sets of answers at any point in time. these guys are experienced. Now that they know that they cannot aspire to be CG anymore, the incentive to be committed, to work hard, will no longer be there. Corruption will be worse. And now they say, what do you mean we're corrupt? We have a tough man at the head.
But the question would also be,
let me share one ridiculous, I want to tell you how it is. One ridiculous I heard an actress say some years ago. She said, they were talking about her, the issue of whether being unfaithful and all that. I said, no, my husband is a very, very good Christian. He operates with the Holy Spirit. If I sleep around, he will know. I looked and I laughed in vernacular. You understand what I'm saying? So when you come, you pretend to be so holy, so sanctimonious, then they will throw it on and say, you are a holy man. If you are very, very close to God, if I do something like that, won't you know? Are you not a pastor? Won't you know if I do something like that? Of course, like a big fool. You say, oh, yes. You've been set up. You understand what I'm saying? They will simply set him up. Oh, you are a tough man, anti-corruption. Nothing can go wrong under you. Who dares? Nobody can steal under you. It's under people like that people steal the most.
Well, earlier you talked about changing
civil servants.
The system.
Local government. I'll come back to it. Please, you can ask me that after. I want to address Okoye's issue. On the issue of local government.
No, sorry. Just before we get to the local government, you talked
about.
Promise
me you will allow me answer Okoye on that.
Yeah, yes, we're still within that question. You talked about this changing the system, rather than changing personalities. If we've had a system that has been that corrupt, and that redundant for a while, bringing an external force, wouldn't that also be a channel for the change required to rejig?
First, you need to understand what the system is.
The system.
If you're an accountant, for instance, or in accounts, for instance, the reason you have your various books and your entries and your, if you like, outputs and all that, it's simply to be able to trace and see what is going on. Sometimes they say, okay, at so point, you need, for so amount, someone needs to sign and approve. The bank doesn't need to touch when you get involved in anything, but it's an approving authority. It goes to him, which means you cannot go and say you have done something. When in some companies you have internal audit, they double check. You say you've bought something, okay, fine, no problem. Where's the receipt? The receipt, a receipt would normally have the address, possibly telephone number of wherever it is you've gotten. Now the reason is simple. Even if nobody is going to ask, the possibility is there that they can double check. And if you have that at the back of your mind, you're also careful. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when a system is put in place, it's not like this administration we have now where they are saying that the emperor can do no wrong. If you have checks and balances, when you're doing anything, somebody else is overlooking it, there are processes, not just one person, then somehow it begins to put things in place. On the issue of corruption, the courts in place and other things that I gave you an example earlier about this issue of the e-payment. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the same administration introduced the treasury single treasury account and things like that. These are things you begin to put in place to stop. Another one is this issue of, this came, I think, during this administration or so. I don't know when that started, so I can't attribute it anymore. The issue of the foreign exchange, that you cannot withdraw more than a certain amount or don't pay in so amount. These are systems that are being put in place to check certain things. When you do that, there are people crying and complaining right now because they are frustrated. Things cannot happen. Before, if I travel, even if I don't take any money from here, if I'm withdrawing from my account, I can withdraw so much over there. But right now you're restricted to $300 per day. Okay? So if it's millions you want to take away, You have to. I mean, you have to go with maybe 20 ATM cards, spread the money over 20 banks if you have that many banks. Then, like a madman, begin to go from bank to bank every morning.
A few dollars.
Before you withdraw that over a long period of time. And by the time you're doing that, the red flag is showing. You're certain because what is happening, you know? And then they might just, there's a red flag. It shows immediately. That's what I mean by putting a system in place. That checks the criminal more. In the days where you don't have things like that, you simply get somebody who withdraw millions of dollars, go to the airport, take it out. It makes it so easy.
Let's quickly talk about the issue of councillors.
Yes. Again, why are they corrupt? Why is the system the way it is? This is supposed to be an autonomous body. It's a tier by itself of government. You have, I mean, you have the federal, the state, and the local government. That's the third tier. When the federal allocation is being made, the federal has its own share. The states have their own, the local governments have their own. Now, the state government decide, look, you are under us. What the state government, the nonsense state government will not take. They are doing it to the local government. Oh, you're under us. You don't have the wisdom to spend. You cannot say, we're also developing yourself. See, the federal government is not developing states too. And then they collect the whole money and decide to spend on behalf of this. The remaining one, the Yorubas will say, they will just simply share. It's kill and divide. Because in reality, very little is left for development.
Now you now begin to ask yourself, what's not the relevance of the local government?
The local government is relevant if the states that are very corrupt, if a state is not corrupt, if the government is not corrupt at the state level, if they want to be sincere, they'll give to a local government who belongs to the local government. You don't spend their money on their behalf and act as if you have a superior brain. The local government chairman went to the same schools you went to. He's probably even better educated. It just so happens that you are opportune to be the state governor at this particular point in time. So if they allow them, they will now begin to develop their local governments. And then people can now begin to hold them responsible. But now you can't hold them responsible. You know what? Even if they steal, I like to call it what it is, steal. You know, even when they steal, you can't really accuse them because they will tell you straight away, well, after all, the only thing we get is just for our salaries and all. The money doesn't come to us, the state government takes it. Can you blame them? You can't. And so the corruption of the state continues.
Let me get back to the phone line. Hello, good morning. Can you speak louder than that? What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Enugu, and Mr. Damian. Yeah, Mr. Damian, Mr. Damian, I'm calling from Enugu.
Okay.
Are you hear me now?
Yes, I heard Enugu. What's your name?
Damian, Mr. Damian, calling from Enugu.
Damian from Enugu. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, my own contribution there is that I understand this, what is your friend saying here. He said that, forget about the corruption. Let us call anybody who steals money, let us call it as a thief. It's a criminal. Yes, said that one. Secondly is that the problem we are having in this Nigeria is media, you people that justify this corruption. If the media itself know what is to do. Okay, now let me just say,
I agree with you.
If you're selling oil these days, okay, let the board come out and explain where did he keep the money, because you know there's no minister who can give account. If he can give account, if the media pressure on Buhari, come and tell us where our money goes. Yes, you will see the fear on him. Whatever you hear in his media, he fear more than people speaking. Because the problem we have, you people cannot even say, let us move this. Because you can go to Buhari and you still come to us. We understand that one, but we as a self cannot go to Buhari and tell him this. Then the way you keep him on account and he account, yes, the followers as a governor, you look what is going on, he cannot even touch the money. Because the main man himself have already cleared himself. And when the person on top that cleared himself very well, not everybody will go there. If the person on top is clear, nobody will go to that money again. You see everything will be glowing. But when the person on top is doing that thing, my dear, forget about corruption. Anybody who thief is a thief. Call us thief. We accept that one. That's the only thing I want to say.
Thank you very much, David, for your contribution. It's obvious we require more media stations like Hot TV that will be very independent in the analysis of issues. And of course, unfortunately, there are lots of
that will also tolerate voices like mine.
Voices like yours.
Not singing praises and saying the emperor can do no wrong. No, we can't continue like that.
Unfortunately, we have many media outlets that have political interest. And, you know, the more we have that, well, to an extent, if they are on different sides, there's balance. But there's also the need for an independent platform that can balance all of the issues, just like we do on this station. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Are you there?
Hello, good morning.
You're on to Call Digest. What's your name? You're calling from Enugu. What's your name?
My name is Steve. I'm calling from Enugu.
All right, please go ahead with your contribution.
You see, talking about the issue of corruption in Nigeria, I believe in one thing. We have lost our moral values. We have really lost our moral values. That is one problem, one big problem. But if you check on the part of the law enforcement agents, police, and the judiciaries, it is nothing to write home about. We no longer have confidence on our police and the judiciary. If you go to court, you don't have money. You can't bribe your way out. You can never get justice. Why is it so in Nigeria? Then, talking of the media, always praise those at the top, praising them. They don't criticize things that are wrong. It's only when that person goes out of that seat that they begin to say, you did this, you did this, you did this. It is wrong. In the Western world, we don't have such kind of things.
That's true.
When the person is still on that seat, you tell him what he is doing. And by telling him that, there will be fear in that person. I mean, I just believe that the justice system in Nigeria is too corrupt. So they have to start from the judiciary. If they start from the judiciary, they make them independent. Because if you rely on somebody that feeds you, gives you all the necessary things you need, it will not work. You cannot take case against that person. It is impossible. Very, very difficult. Because you can't bite the finger that feeds you. Because if you bite the finger that feeds you, you can never get it from him again. So we should try to make our judicial system very independent, and our law enforcement agents to impact their moral values so that they can do their work effectively. Thank you.
Good to hear from you, my brother, on the show this morning. Well, let's also begin to look at the importance of having scapegoats, you know, in the area of fighting corruption, because the challenge here would be that even if we have a scapegoat, don't forget that PDP is there to find out which party affiliation the person in question is, you know, and then after a while we won't now be looking at what he has done wrong. We might now be looking at, it's a witch hunt on the opposition.
Well, obviously, that's what they're trying to do. If this administration is truly sincere, house cleaning must start in-house. Then that will be a demonstration of sincerity. You know, we are beginning to see an administration of cronyism, where you appoint your friends because of loyalty. I mean, I don't understand. You know, they have been there for me, so I'll be there for them. You're not even pushing through the credibility or the competence of the people first. What you're talking about is the fact that, okay, they were there for me and things like that. And so in the fight against corruption, across board, I mean, there was no one single party that was completely free or completely guilty of corruption. If there is going to be sincerity, let it start in-house. Everybody sits up. If I start by beating my own child, then you can be sure I'm not going to spare any other child. You know what I mean? That's what. So the fight should not just be seen as a fight, but it should be seen to be so. You know.
Talking about starting from within,
yes.
Can we categorize the intention of ICPC to question past APC governors as a right step in the right direction?
A query or inquisition is simply what it is. I've said, stop accusations, bring people to book.
No, but it will start from there.
Listen, you see, unfortunately, Babangida taught us something years ago. It taught Nigerians, they have Maradona style. I'm beginning to see it now, where if the polity is quiet, not much is happening. Bring up an issue, keep people busy, let them be discussing it. They won't remember your incompetence or the fact that you're not ruling. Just stir up a controversy and then set an agenda, they start discussing it. And that's what we've been doing the past 100 days.
It takes the attention away from the
From
issues.
what is going on.
Let me take this last call on the show as we begin to wrap up. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Speak louder. What's your name?
Okay, this is Amikebo. Amikebo calling from Makurdi.
Amikebo from Makurdi. Good to hear from Amikebo from Makurdi. Good to hear from you. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah. My contribution is now that everybody now is shouting thief, thief, thief. Who is the thief? Everybody is now shouting corruption, corruption, corruption. Who is corrupt? What is corruption? What do they mean by corruption? I think, just like the other callers have said, we should start fighting corruption from the basics. From where it started, how it started, who started it. Yeah, I think the politicians, even though people are complaining that they are corrupt, but I think the most corrupt people in the society are the civil servants themselves. Because if assuming now I get to contest for a particular post and I win, it to be corrupt. That we, because all these fights, they are going from one office to the office, from one office to the other. So I think they should start fighting this corruption from the civil servants themselves.
That's all right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. I think we should wrap it there. Who is a thief? And are we looking for the thief or the most corrupt thief at this time?
Someone once said it is only one that is caught that is a thief.
That's true.
You will hear very corrupt people at the vanguard of saying, look, kill them, corrupt officers and all that. I see that all the time. I see governors who open their mouths very wide and are calling other people thieves, simply because they are still in government. The day they leave, then we see exactly how very corrupt they are. So we should stop paying lip service. We should have a system that works. We should have a dog that not only barks, but also bites. That way. If you have a dog that only barks and doesn't bite, people will keep invading your house every day. But if that dog actually bites, they'll think twice. They won't come to your house without your permission. I want to rest it on that.
Thank you very much for finding time to come. I've been speaking with Victor OKHAI, policy analyst. It's always a swell time having you on the show. There's a picture trending on the social media. It's a framed picture of an ex-governor that was found in the waste bin. And it also points to the fact that whatever position you're holding right now is time base. It's just a function of 4 or 8 years thereabout. And I think that political leaders can welcome constructive criticism, encourage opposition, and also listen to voices at this particular time. The reason why you're here, or why you're there, I believe, is for the people. Thank you for watching the show today. Core Digest continues tomorrow with a little bit of extra on it. Join us again.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.